Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ready to go. We're at the top of the hour. It's time for another episode of Level Up, and I'm excited. I'm truthfully excited. This is just a brother who has been in my world for a while, for a minute. Ever since basic training and Uncle Sam, I've known this brother. That's well before I even thought about being a father. So, but Anthony, let me just take a quick moment and introduce you to our Level Up audience. So, in Level Up was an idea that was birthed in the aftermath of me having a really crazy experience at one of my former schools, where I was trying to reach some 11th graders, some 12th graders. They weren't being very successful in their math studies, and I wanted to make it real world for them. So I brought in a board game by a gentleman named Robert Kiyosaki. He's the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, and in this board game, it taught them about like buying stocks or buying businesses or real estate investing, trying to make it real world for them. And this was my boss was a manager. He was a brother, and at the time, I wasn't in real estate at all. It was just something that I heard about that I thought was cool. I was actually studying to be a high school principal. I thought I was going to be a principal. And this gentleman, you know, his evaluation of me was so terrible. It was just so like beneath what I ever anticipated as a math educator. And I said, wow, because I'm not married to the New York State curriculum, and I'm trying to do something real world that our young people can actually take and apply something tangible. I'm not a good teacher. That literally shifted my trajectory in life. And Anthony, mind you, this was at Edison Tech. Edison Tech was back in the day renowned for trying to make things real world. So my audience is really young people who have not made a commitment to go to college. They haven't really made a commitment to go to trade school or to the military. They're just trying to figure this thing out. And I've been so focused on that every child needs to go to college to be successful. And I know that's not true. And now my commitment is that every child needs to know about entrepreneurship so they can be free. You may not want to be successful in another man's ladder or another man's matrix, but you can choose to be free. And by being an entrepreneur, I'm of the belief that's how that happens. Now you can push back if
Absolutely.
you disagree,
No,
but
that's absolutely true.
that's what I believe. So that's who my audience is. A lot of young people. There are also people on the front end of their entrepreneur journey, or like yourself. You know, they've burnt the ships. This is what they do all day, every day. Not working for the man, but working for themselves and building a legacy for their family. And Lord willing, in 2 years, I'm gonna be right there. The W-2 has been good to me. I've loved being a New York State educator, but it's time for the next journey. So, brother, do I have permission to go deep now? Can I dive in?
Let's dive on in. Let's get in
All
there.
right, brother. I want to introduce my audience to you. So let's get it. All right. So, welcome everyone to another episode of Level Up. Today we have an absolute powerhouse, in my opinion, in the world of entrepreneur joining us. He's a visionary behind United People LLC, a company that started in 2011 with just a cargo van and a dream, and has now grown into a major player in the world of the delivery industry, partnering with none other than the Red Cross, American Red Cross. And guess what? He's not stopping there. He's geared up to take his business to the next level with potential partnerships from the West Coast on-demand delivery giant Move It. So look, but that's not all. Our guest is a proud Rochesterian native who is sharpening skills at the prestigious Clark Atlanta University. Hey, hey. He's a dedicated family man, married to a wonderful Lasagna Simmons, and he's deeply committed to making an impact in both, not only in business, but in the community. So get ready to dive into the mind and the grind of a true entrepreneur, a leader, a man of vision with a better future in his heart and in his mind. So let's give a warm welcome to the one and only Anthony Simmons. How you doing, brother?
Hey,
All right. I didn't leave out anything, did I, bro?
no, you covered the bases.
I love it, man. I love it, man. So listen, um, there's a ton. I mean, I've been trying to get you on this show for a while, man. I'm a little embarrassed about how long it's taken me to get you here, but you're here.
Yeah, I'm here. I mean, we were trying to get it together, but things kept popping up. New opportunities were springing up as we were trying to get together. So I had to put out those fires.
Amen. Amen. So, I mean, so if you could just share with my audience a little bit about your journey from the inception of the idea of not working for anybody else, being self-reliant to where you are now.
My journey took me from Valio, which was a company, automotive company, and they were getting ready to lay us off. So I was driving on the highway and I seen a PDQ vehicle go by that said on demand. So I said, you know what? I could do that. I'm a driver. I could do that.
Mhm.
So I got with those guys, learned the ropes. And then in 2011, I just branched out and did my own thing.
Mhm. When you think back to that decision to, man, I'm doing this already. Why can't I do it for myself? Take me through what may have, I don't know what the best way of asking it, but for a lot of people, there's a level of fear. Like, what if I don't succeed? Take me through those emotions and those thoughts that some of us don't even give voice to.
Yeah, I must say that that was a period of time that was early in my Christian walk. So I still had a mindset, like an ethic mindset. Just give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
So with that mentality, I just took that and ran with it. And the fear was never there for me.
Hey,
The fear was never there. The fear was never there for me. I mean, I just had to do it.
awesome. I'm trying to get my trying to get my AI on to do some dictation, and I hit the wrong button. So
Oh, I got
technology,
you. I
when it
got you.
works well. Uh, Sometimes you got to baby it. Let me try
Right.
this one more time. I want to make sure I have the notes in the. A lot of times people catch this after the fact. I want to have the notes right in the subsection so they can get at it.
I got you.
I love technology, but sometimes technology doesn't love me back. So hold on,
Right.
give
Exactly.
me a second. There it is. All right, it should be coming online right now. So I want to go back to something that you said, and I don't want this to go over anybody's head. You mentioned something about your faith walk, and there's a lot of people that kind of get into entrepreneurship, and they do have a belief in themselves, and they have a belief in their ability to bring a value to the marketplace, but that belief may not maybe doesn't always extend to a higher power. Can you speak to those folks in my audience a little bit about how that higher power has been pivotal in your journey?
Yeah, it's a must when you can step out on a faith system because you could talk to people and people could sway you one way or the other. But when you have a faith system in place, to lean on, it kind of just gives you a firm foundation.
I think it's critical that everybody who's following us understand that there's two parts of this thing. And I'm not the one to say that you got to have it all figured out in the beginning, but at some point there's got to be a culmination. The first part is the why of the thing. You may not have all the puzzle pieces figured out on the what or the when or the how, but you got to know the why. And I say it like this: if your why isn't big enough to make you cry, you're probably gonna quit before you see the fruits of your energy or your effort. So you got the why piece down. Now you got to dovetail into what Anthony was just talking about. You got to have a faith system. You have to have a belief that if you are a child of God and you are made in His image, and you are meant to be, a conqueror, and you are meant to cultivate and to create and bring life and your creative gifts to the world, that not everybody's going to be on your team. Not everybody's going to be in your fan club. And
No,
sometimes you got to walk alone before people figure out your vision or your gift. And so I say all that to share, Anthony, if you could just share with my audience maybe scenarios you've had in your life where you had to kind of walk on your own before the rest of family, friends, or whatever had your back. What did that look like for you?
well, I've done a couple of different businesses. I opened a coffee shop, and the first thing people ask me is, "Do black people drink coffee like that?" And I'm like, I don't just want black dollars. You know what I'm saying? I want everybody dollars. So
Right.
what difference do it make if black people don't drink coffee like that? You know what I'm saying? But there's a great many black people that drink coffee. When you go to Starbucks, you see black people in there, right?
Right.
So I've done photography work. I shot many scenes and sporting events and weddings and everything, and it's taken me to Sierra Leone, and that was while I was doing my delivery business. So I mean, there's other things. You don't just have to stop at one thing. You can be multifaceted. So you can always pivot. Never be afraid to pivot.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sometimes when delivery is slow, you got to make it up somewhere.
Right. Right. I mean, and it's huge when we talk about the whole idea of pivoting. 3 years ago, Anthony was one of my partners when we were doing our rental arbitrage. And on the inception of it, we had all of these landlords that we had lease agreements with. And speaking of pivot, we saw that we were leaving a lot of dollars on the table. So we went from having 10 plus properties. At one point we were down to two. And now we kind of have pivoted, and now we have what we call a co-listing arrangement, where we now partner with the landlords and we share the upside. But you got to pivot to stay in business.
You got to learn how to pivot.
I mean, there's no way that you can go into any experience, whether it's business or anything, and not make. I call them in football. Everybody has a plan, right? This is what Mike Tyson says. Everybody has a plan until you get hit in the face.
Right. Till you get punched in the mouth. Right. Everybody. It
Everybody,
sounds good.
yep. So what does your halftime adjustment look like? So you don't got punched. You don't realize that something that you thought were going to work didn't work out how you envisioned. How are you going to adjust? How are you going to pivot? And that's
Right.
and that's what you're talking about. So give us some background of how Red Cross, how was that collaboration, that partnership? How did that come together?
Okay, so I was working with those guys prior to the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, they decided they wanted to go in a different direction and have larger carriers to move their product. So it was a dark time for me at that point, and then I had to learn how to pivot right there. So I went back to a job situation until the time came for me to step back out
Mhm.
because the bills keep coming. They don't stop. They're worse than P. Diddy. Can't stop, won't stop. So, um, so what I did was I just waited. I mean, I had the faith that I knew I was going to be back into it. And once you've done it once, you can do
Mhm.
it again.
Amen. Speak
And
to that
and
for us
and,
a
and,
little bit.
and that's kind of where that's kind of where your faith system comes in at right there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because there's many examples in the Bible where a person has lost it all and then they've been blessed, you know, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5 fold, you know what I'm saying?
Be cured. Yes.
So I just had to wait for my season.
Right. Right.
And then the work that I had done for the Red Cross had kind of spoke for itself because they contacted me and
Mhm.
said, okay, we want you to come back, So
I like that. And you're speaking some Bible. Most people who are with us on this journey, may not, have a faith system in place the way I do or the way you do. So I think it is an interesting thing and it is an important thing that although if I read a good business book or Tony, if you see a good bit, yeah, tell me about it. I like principles of business, but I like the biblical principles even more because they have stood the test of time. When we think about what you just mentioned, people in the Bible who have lost it all. I think about the book of Job. I mean he had
right,
everything.
yeah, they all
He did it all. They got at him through his health. They got at him through his family. They got at him through his relationship with his wife. And yet he would never denounce God. And I think, at least what I've seen, when you start your trajectory in business, you know, things are rolling, you're optimistic. And then once you get to a certain level, things start going south. People start saying, or doing or acting in a way that's contrary to what you initially um, anticipated. That's when that faith system you talked about is really important. Can you share with my audience any any experiences that you kind of have had to weather that could have taken you out if you didn't have that faith system in place?
yeah, because you come across individuals, and I'm not going to name any names or anything like that, but you try to help them out, you try to put them on, and they are to sabotage you. You know what I'm saying? I had an individual, they done crashed my vehicle. You know what I'm saying? They done tried to sue me. All kind of stuff. Tried to get
Mhm.
workers' comp. This, they wasn't even hurt, but they just, wanted to put it out there, and just it was just a whole mess. But luckily, I had the business mind to have everything in place where I had those insurances to make sure I was covered.
Mhm. Love it. Love it. All right. So I'm gonna step away from business a little bit. I'm gonna transition back to it in a minute. But so here I want to throw a little humor out at you. So uh you're from Rochester, you've lived in Rochester, and you're married to a Buffalo girl. Okay. All right. If Rochester had a help page. What would you and Lasagna write in the review?
If they had a help page, like they
Mhm.
need help.
Yeah. Oh, no, I said help. I meant Yelp. The Yelp page where you would have to
Yelp.
review.
Oh, okay, Yelp.
Yeah,
Okay, I got you.
Yelp.
I got you. I got you. Rochester used to be a really great place. Over the years, we've gone down, so the Yelp review will be terrible at this particular point. I live in the 19th ward, and we used to have, gas stations, movie theaters, garages, service centers,
Remember the Capitol?
McDonald's. Yeah, we had nothing now. What do you have? What are you doing for the community? What is Rochester doing for its citizens? All the services are gone. And we were not doing anything. You know what I'm saying? So I had to give them a terrible review.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, it actually speaks to a lot in terms of um it almost feels like there were more opportunity when we were in our 20s than there may be opportunities for our kids that are getting out of school now and they're seeing things. And there is a statistic of how many, of our young gifted and black young people don't stay in the city. They go off to, Clark Atlanta like you did, and many of them don't come back.
Right.
Yeah. So that is a real thing. That is a real thing. All right. So back to the business here. So now you have a track record with the American Red Cross. Now, how did this opportunity evolve where now you might be actually doing business on the West Coast?
Um, so I found a company called Move It, and
Move it.
they want to expand to the east. So we got together. We're talking numbers right now. So hopefully everything comes together, and we can start moving on the East Coast.
Okay. All right. So I'm glad you gave me that clarity. Okay, so it's not so much that you are going to be moving your base of operation out west, but this is a bigger. Are they bigger than the Red Cross and comparable size, or how would you
Move It
compare?
is I would say they're similar to a company just getting started, like Uber. When the Uber first started, they started off in the Bay Area,
Correct.
and then they did some micro testing in the Bay Area, and then they kind of grew from there. They grew on the West Coast first, and
Hmm.
then they brought it to the East Coast. So this is kind of a similar situation. So I'm trying to get on the ground floor.
Okay. All right. And actually, towards the end of it, I'm gonna really ask you to pump that up because you're even working on there's an app associated with that.
That's correct. There's an app, and it's like I said, it's really similar to like an Uber situation, except for it's for delivery.
Got it. Okay. Understood. Yeah, we're absolutely gonna circle back to that.
Because I was gonna do my own, but then I think it's just easier just to partner with somebody and who's already got it, going, and just get a piece of the pie versus just trying to make a whole cake.
Got you. Got you. All right. So, you and I both have, young adults. We don't have kids anymore. We got young adults, and the one thing that I believe is important is to talk about legacy. So, when you think about the legacy that your mom, grandma, father, or grandfather left for you, and you contrast that with the legacy that you're trying to leave for your children, speak to the similarities and perhaps the differences that you would like to be able to say, this is what I did.
Um, well, my mom worked at Rochester Products, so she made all the sacrifices for me, and she was instrumental in keeping the rec center open. She made the contacts with the city, and they ultimately named the rec center after her. So that's a legacy.
Say it with your
And my
chest, man. Be
grandfather,
proud of that, brother. Be
and
proud
then
of
my
that.
grandfather, Rocky Simmons, he was, Negro League baseball player, and he did a lot of things, good things for the community. So, that's legacy. So now it's my turn. My turn to step up and build a successful business, leave it for the kids. So hopefully, one day, my name could be mentioned amongst my mom and my grandfather, as a legacy.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Um, but look, you mentioned your kids, and I would be remiss if I didn't speak on this. Um, you know, as a teacher, man, I've been teaching for 20 years, man, and I've seen all of the variations of amazing parents to not so amazing parents. Can you speak to our audiences about, what you've learned and the correlation maybe between, your journey as a business person and your journey as a parent? Because you've had your parenting styles has had to shift over the years because every one of your kids needed something a little bit different. Um,
Correct.
so speak to that. I believe you have a total of 4 kids, right?
I have
Did I leave
6,
out? Six. Okay, I did leave
4
out some.
boys, 2 girls.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So yeah, each individual kid is different, and they have different needs. And I kind of, you kind of learn from the business part of it, developing your relationship with your kids because each client is different and you handle them differently. So, it's kind of like practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So, I mean, Stephen and Ashanti are like, night and day, but they're both competitive. They're it's a beautiful thing to see them grow up and develop. And we just got Ashanti moved on into her dorm her first semester. So that's a beautiful thing.
now it's exciting, obviously, but then for Mama Bear, that must be a different space for her. How is she handling that?
Well, you know, they think a little different than us. You know what I'm saying? So a little more emotional. I'm like, okay, let her go out and do her thing. You know what I mean? We gonna see her. She didn't go too far. She be all right.
Yeah, she said they're a little different from us.
They're a little different. You're
Yeah.
like, hey, we, we're trying to get into our season of peace. You know what I'm saying? So we done our job, so we want them, hey, let's
Yeah.
step back and enjoy the fruits of our labor. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah. Well, good luck with that because Patrick he'll be home in a week and Mama Bear on my end, boy, she can't wait.
oh
She
man,
can't,
oh man.
yeah. She can't wait. Um so that's interesting. So in parallel, I'm gonna ask you this question. I pose this question that the parents of our generation did a great job of preparing us. They prepared us. Like when we got pulled over by a police officer, we already knew what time it was going to be. We kind of had a sense. Um, you know, um, I'm not sure. I believe this is the case. My family was transplants from the South. They came to New York for a job opportunity. And I always thought it was interesting that anytime we travel back home, we always left at some crazy hour, like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Well, why did we do that? Um, but I didn't realize at the time that was because people of color, if you got on the road at the regular hours, there was more of a likelihood that you would be harassed by a police officer. And
Yeah,
just by jumping on the road at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., you can literally get from point A to point B and not be, inconvenienced or detained or whatever. Um, so my question is this. I feel like the current generation has gotten away from the preparation and helping kids get ready and they're more in the protecting stage. Speak to that a little bit. Do you believe that the parents of today are more about that protecting or more about the preparation and preparing of their children for the next level?
I would say they're more on protecting because I mean, I grew up, I was in kindergarten. We lived downtown on St. Paul Street, and I caught the bus, the city bus. It
Okay.
wasn't no school bus. I had to put my quarter in there and catch that bus,
Right.
and then I learned that RTS had a thing where they would let children under a certain age ride for free. So I would just walk on with an adult. And I was pocketing my quarter. You know what I'm saying? So, so all right. And I learned how to hang on to a couple of dollars, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, so now we want to protect them. I mean, I didn't even let my kids walk to the store. It's rough out here.
Listen, my kids, private school, ain't never been on a city bus. So I'm victim of that same thing. I was trying to, make sure my kids didn't have to feel any pain. But
Yeah,
but this,
the pendulum swung the other way.
yeah,
We went from parents who would beat you down, you
yeah,
know what I'm saying, to when we swung all the way this way to,
yeah,
so, but hey,
yeah. So so here's what I'll share. So for people who are just tapping in with me online, social media, we're having an intimate conversation with our guest today on Level Up, Anthony Simmons, business entrepreneur, father of six, community man, and he's just pulling back the curtains on his journey as an entrepreneur and as a father. So here's what I want to ask, man. Given what you said about the work that your grandmother had in terms of keeping that community center in place,
oh, my mom, yeah.
your mom, excuse me, thank you.
Mhm.
What role do you believe that business should play in giving back to the community?
I've been trying to really dive in and get support from the city, which they just kind of fail because I had a whole vision to expand rapidly. They had once in a generation type of money to disperse to small businesses, and nobody of African American descent got any of that money.
Say more about that, please.
So during the COVID situation, they got some grant money that was supposed to go to small businesses. And I wrote a whole plan out. I was trying to train drivers. I wanted to employ drivers. I wanted to expand rapidly. That plan would have put many people to work. I gave it to them. I said, okay, this is what I want to do. This is giving back. It's giving back in a way that's not a handout.
Right.
So it goes to the old saying, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. I was trying to teach a man how to fish,
Yeah.
and I got no help. But ultimately, I want to build my business up to where I could teach a man to fish. I want to be able to help as many people as I can before I transition so that I can leave this planet in a better state than what I came in.
Amen. Okay. Understood. All right. Hey, another question, another reflection here. For you, what do you think your biggest risk was when you decided that business is something that you didn't just want to play around with? It wasn't just something that you wanted to stick your toe in the pool.
I guess the biggest risk would be failure, just not being able to do it because there are many obstacles in your way as you as you form your business, as you try to go out and get business,
Hmm.
especially being, African American. You've got insurance obstacles, and you got people who don't want to deal with you because you're small. Then you got, you got to get the right person to give you a shot,
Hmm.
and it's a grind
Hmm.
until
Hmm.
you get out there and prove yourself, and then as you start to build your reputation, then it kind of follows you around a little bit.
Attraction. You get a reputation. People will vouch for you, speak highly of you, and then that
Right.
that
And then, you got to get the right, you're trying to build your business credit,
yeah,
they give you a small little line, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what am I going to do with that?
yeah, yeah. Now, so you you
So,
you you open up an excellent door. Let's go ahead and walk through it. Speak to my beginning business people who are on the front side of the journey about some woulda, coulda, shouldas. If you could look back and give maybe some advice from the funding side of it, how to capitalize your business. What do you know now that you wish you would have known in the very beginning?
I wish I would have known how my personal credit would affect my business credit, because if you're not, like a tech company, and you're not raising millions of dollars, most of us are not. It's the funding part of it is difficult, and your personal credit will help you get your business credit. And
Hmm.
I wish I worked on my personal credit a little bit better, so that it would have transitioned to my business credit, because most of these creditors want you to have a personal
Personal personal guarantee.
guarantor.
Yeah,
Yeah, guarantee.
yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah. Now, at this point, have you leveraged multiple LLCs? Because correct me if I'm wrong, but one of my accountant friends was basically saying, per the number of LLCs you have, is you can get funding for each one of those entities.
right. So I have a few LLCs. So you want to have one holding company, and then another company that has the some of the assets. So if
Mhm.
something happens, it makes pivoting a whole lot easier.
Correct, correct.
Yeah.
And then so that that is taking me in another place that I'm not ready to go in. But at some point, I do want you to kind of speak to our folks about holding companies, LLCs, trust, and that whole piece that because we've all have had experiences where um our loved ones are no longer with us. Sometimes their stuff don't automatically transfer to the kids and the grandkids because they didn't structure things right.
Right.
Um,
Correct.
so I mean, why don't you jump right into that right now? Now that I think about it, because I
Yeah.
think a
Yeah.
lot of folks
Because
want to hear this.
yeah. So once you can structure your LLC, and you can have your immediate family members, if you choose to, be members of the LLC. So now that they're a member of the LLC, that means they have control of what the LLC does. So it makes it easier to move things around. Like I said, to make pivots. You can have them go from a member to major shareholder. So, and then
Right, right.
you have multiple LLCs, so that you can, like I said, you can have one that's holding the assets, one that's getting the income. You know what I'm saying? And then you transfer, and one that's paying the bills.
Hmm.
So if something happens, and you need to take a hit,
Hmm.
only one LLC takes the hit, versus that's all you have. You just take the hit of take the full brunt of the force on, because you have one LLC. That's a problem.
Right. So for my audience members that may not be familiar with how to go about creating a LLC, could you share how your journey did it?
What I did was I went online. I did a search of LLCs. how to file. I looked for the best company that was gonna, with a good price and that was gonna represent me. And I dove right in. That's it.
Now, help my people understand the difference between doing an LLC, because we're talking about it like it's just oxygen. But how is that different from a partnership or a DBA in your understanding?
Okay, so for a partnership or a sole proprietorship, everything falls on you. There's no umbrella. If you get sued, they can go after your personal assets. They can go after, you. When you have an LLC, you have an umbrella.
You got the veil.
You got the umbrella.
Yeah,
So when it starts raining, you ain't getting wet.
right.
You know.
Good analogy. Good analogy.
Yeah, you don't want to be getting soaked. So you want the business to take the hit. You don't want to take the hit personally.
Yeah, for
Now,
sure.
not only that, for tax purposes, you pass your losses from your LLC to your personal income. So tax time, you can, you do a lot of write-offs.
Absolutely. And that's what I wanted my audience to resonate with. All the time, I tell people that just from a tax standpoint, our government, the founding fathers, the way they set this all up, everything is skewed towards business people. If you're not in business for yourself, you are at the highest tax rate of 30+%. But once you learn a little something, and sometimes you got to pay some money, sometimes you got to take some courses, sometimes you got to join some masterminds to get the knowledge, but it's worth it. Because
Yeah.
once you get the knowledge and you learn, and I'm not sure, Simmons, if you did this while your kids were in the house, but man, it blew my mind when I knew, and I didn't really take full advantage of this, that I could have paid my kids while they were in my house up to 12, 12 grand a year,
Right.
and have it totally tax deductible.
Tax
you know,
deductible. Correct.
like I'm thinking about, I'm already spending about 12 grand a year on the kids, but it's not tax deductible.
Right.
But but that is the distinction of being in that world of having other people who are like minded say, now this is the why you ought to be doing it. This is how you ought to be structured. And I did learn about it, but I didn't really take full advantage of it. How about you? Were you able to incorporate some of those tips and tricks when your kids were still in the house?
Well, I was able to utilize it with my oldest son because he drove for me. He drives for me. So
Okay. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Awesome.
the
Awesome.
other thing I do, I have partners and they have LLCs.
Hmm.
So my LLC pays their LLC.
There you go.
So I don't pay them as an individual. I pay them as an LLC.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So here's what I want to ask here is, so we've talked a little bit about the business, we talked about family, we talked about faith, we talked about legacy. What I want to ask you now is this, you know, when it comes to, and I don't normally do this, but of all the brothers that I have on my team that know a little bit about what's going on with the political apparatus that exists in the city, the state, and in the world, please, and I'm not really super political on this, but if you can share, we're in an election year. Can you share with my platform, irregardless of who they vote for, why they need to be voting? Why is it not a good idea to sit this out?
You got to vote. You got to be in the process. You got to have some skin in the game. You got to be able to say, I took a part of the process and I voted because who gets in there really matters, especially on the local scene because we're the we're the first front line. So, they make policies and make decisions that affect us directly. The streets, street maintenance, trash, all that stuff, be taken care of.
And guys, let me say this, and I think it's important that it be said. As a business owner, as a person who's about that life, if it's up to me, if it's going to be, it's up to me. It, you have to be a little selfish in terms of being focused. And you do have to have this mindset. I don't care who's in the White House. I'm handling what's going on in my house. I do believe that there is a place for that. But I don't want to be naive, and I don't want to have any false sense of what's real. The more you evolve and the more you elevate, and the more you're able to not just be blessed, but being a blessing, politics do matter. You want me to prove it? Anybody who has any substantial asset in a company is funding a political entity. And why is that, Tony? Why are they funding a political person?
They're trying to get their favors in.
They're trying to get their favors in. All right. So if you're not a part of the solution, how's it go? If you're not a part of the solution,
You're part of the problem.
part of the problem. So I want y'all to be solution minded. I want you to
Yeah,
be
and we
solution minded.
definitely got to be solution minded.
Yeah, got it. All right, so listen, let me ask you this question. You are in a position where you can time travel back 30 years based on all the wisdom, all the experience, and all the insights that you now have. What are the top 3 things your current self would share with your younger self?
The top 3 things. Let me think. I would say study more, learn more, be receptive to more. That's number one. Number two is leave the honeys alone for a second. Work on myself. Be a better man. And number three, which probably should be really number one, but I'm not going in order. But it really invest in my faith system.
I love it. Young
Yeah, because
people,
I wasn't there where I am now as far as faith wise. And if I was there then, I think I would be much farther ahead now. So that would have to be number one then.
wow, okay, that's good. That's real good. All right, so Tony, I always end. This is my last question, and I'm gonna put myself on the spot as well. I always ask my guests, can I get a commitment from you to bring you back in the next 8, 9, 10, 12 months to see if what you're working on in your spirit, what if you're trying to manifest to get to the next level, to check in with you to get a praise and progress report. Can I get a commitment from you?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right, so I'm gonna put myself out there. All right. So here's what's in my crock pot, things that I'm working on that I want to see some forward movement in the next 12 months. So what I'm doing is I am working on a program where I'm specifically helping our veterans leverage that VA benefit to get into real estate investing. And the reason that's near and dear to me, I'm in my late, I'm in my mid-50s, and I just did it. And I think I was just a little naive, or maybe even a little afraid. And here I am in Hawaii this summer, and And I'm meeting 19-year-olds who've already leveraged that loan, that benefit, and now they're trying to rinse and repeat and do it every year, which I didn't even know you could do it. I thought it was one and done. But no, I'm meeting people who've done it 4 and 5, 6 times. And they're not even in, the single family space. They're actually in multi-families because they were able to progressively get to the next level.
Right.
So that's what I'm committed to doing, not just for myself. I want to help anybody that has a veteran in their family to be able to leverage those benefits. Because I believe if someone had held my hand and walked me through the process, I would be in a different place right now. Very
Yeah,
different.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What are you working on, my brother?
Just trying to get that movie thing going and see what other companies out there that want to work with me.
Now, this is the time. Tell more people, tell my people a little bit more about the opportunity, how y'all leveraging technology with the app, because again, I mean, everything is kind of going in that direction of an app, a AI interface. This is exciting what you're trying to do. So speak to my people a little bit more.
Yeah. So once we bring it to the East Coast, people will have the opportunity if they have a minivan, cargo van, pickup truck to log onto the app, see what kind of jobs are out there. They can pick up a job, and then just like Uber, you take a package from point A to point B and you get paid.
That's big. That's big.
Yeah. So
Um,
yeah,
you know, it,
I'm in the real preliminary stages of making it happen. So just trying to get there.
okay. All right. Everything's perfect in God's time. I believe that, man. Everything's perfect in God's time. Well, so on that note, brother, we're at the top. We're at the top of the hour, man. As the minister says, man, I don't want to hold you long, but I want to hold you strong. I appreciate you,
I
spending some
like that.
time. Yeah, man,
Yeah.
spending some time with us, man. As is our tradition, man. If you could take a moment and just pray us out, I appreciate
Oh man, you put me on the spot.
that. I did.
You put me on the spot. I would like to thank um, my host Earl for inviting me, and dear God, just bless him and bless all the things that he's doing. Um, Lead him in a direction that you would have him go. Make his ideas and visions fruitful. Father God, I would like to say thank you for blessing me and holding me and making sure that I am where I need to be in my family. I would like to be in a position to bless others. And I know with your help I can do it. So be a blessing to us, Lord, and help me and Earl manifest these things in our community. And all these things I say thank you and much praise to you. And that I say amen.
In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Hey, brother, I appreciate you so much. And as we say all the time, man, be blessed, but more importantly, be a blessing. Thank you,
Yes,
everybody.
be a
Have a
blessing.
good night.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All
Have a
right.
good one.